is a random video and a very rambly one. So I accidentally messed up a couple of my fingers when they were still wet, and I need to fix that, and I had to rebuy like my base coat and topper. So to make my shipping free, I treated myself to this beautiful polish. It's from Cert Colors. This is in Mood Ring, and it's a magnetic polish, which I've never done before. So I'm gonna experiment with that and chat with you guys about just like some random thoughts I've had, losing the battle against this plastic, about what in the world is going on right now. I don't know. I was just feeling really out of sorts this morning, thinking about the world and life in general, but specifically feeling like I'm having a genre existential crisis. And then like, I don't know, I've been spectating this whole Twitter thing, and it just feels like it's just, I don't know. I have musings, I guess, about how that may end up impacting the bookish world if Twitter becomes what it seems like it's on the fast track to becoming. So yeah, okay. So maybe let's start with my genre existential crisis. I will try to remember to timestamp this, but I'm expecting that this will be very low edited. So if you don't like a rambly, low edited video, this might not be the one for you. But in lieu of doing a live, just because with timing things, that's not going to work for me, we'll just do this. So first of all, genre existential crisis. I did my ARC, my 2022 Advanced Reader Copy ranking video recently, and I'd mentioned sort of in passing in that video that I feel like I'm not in a good place right now with contemporary romance in terms of new things that are getting published. And I kind of feel like I am of two minds with it. So for one thing, I've noticed that there is, and I want to say, I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum or like say people have to like something that I like. That's not my intention. I guess I'm just like trying to share how I feel about it. I feel like the contemporary romances that are coming out that I do like, it feels like everybody else doesn't like them. But I know that there must be a group of people who do like them because they're getting big pushes and they keep like having more books come out. But it feels like people who also are romance readers feel like some of the books that I do like are not good, or like they're kind of poo-pooing them as being big hits. The one that in particular comes to mind for me is Allie Hazelwood. But there's a few others, but like some of these ones that have been big hits, and I feel like people who really self-identify as romance readers are really not into them. And I can totally understand that. They're a very specific vibe, and it's a vibe that sometimes I really like. So Allie Hazelwood in particular is a good example of like, I see a lot of people really being vocal that her books are all very samey, and I don't necessarily disagree with that, but authors are allowed to have kind of a thing that they do and do well, and that what she does works for me. It does not work for everyone, and I totally get that. And if you're someone who wants like a lot of variation book to book from an author, I agree. She is not. Ooh, wait. Okay. So I put my base coat down. Okay. I just realized I need to be ready. So you have two options. You can either go like this, or you can use this little guy. This is bigger and feels like maybe easier to be accurate with. Okay, so I'm gonna do like this in both coats. You have to pick your angle with the magnet, and you have to do it at the same angle for two different coats for it to work. So we'll see if I'm successful in this, but okay. So anyway, if you want a lot of variation in the books from your favorite authors book to book, I don't think Allie Hazelwood is gonna be for you. It worked, and I could feel it moving. I don't know if I'm going to be able to capture this, but it gives it like this cat eye thing. Oh, wow. Okay. That was pretty exhilarating. But I feel like some of the narrative around it is like, oh, well, these are like watered down romances that real romance readers wouldn't like. And I think of myself as a real romance reader. So like, I just don't know. It just makes me wonder, like, am I just not a good romance reader for liking some of these big titles that have come out and have done well? Now some of them I do have critiques of, even if I do like them. So for one thing, like Allie Hazelwood, I totally get if you want variation. So far in her writing career, I don't think that's something that we're getting. That being said, I also love Mariana Zapata, and while she's like started to branch out a little bit, you also get very similar books from Mariana Zapata. Like, there's a lot of authors like that who I feel like you kind of know what you're going to get. So I get if that's your critique. The other thing that I have the same critique of, even if I do ultimately enjoy the book, is how many of them are marketed as romance but don't really. There is a strong romantic element. There is a happy ever after or a happy for now. So in that sense, you have to, I mean, like, I guess I can get on board with the idea that they are a romance, but they have so many other things happening in them that they end up feeling more like chick lit or women's fiction, which I think is a category. Both of those are getting kind of like phased out of the vernacular, but theoretically those are the kind of historic names for them. Okay. It did it. It's such a thrill. So basically the way this works, I should say, yeah, you can kind of see it, is that there's like little magnetic flecks in the polish, and then when you put the magnet over it, it like does a little pattern. Oh my gosh, what a fucking thrill. So anyway, I share that critique. It's not that I disagree with it, but I don't know that that means that the books are still in like what they are trying to do, not bad, like they're good. I guess maybe what I'm trying to say is I feel like I end up enjoying some of these contemporary romances that are clearly marketed towards people who only read a few romances a year. Like, I know of several people in my life who, like, they probably read 5 romances a year, and it's like a vacation kind of thing for them. So I feel like a lot of these books, like the one that the author I'm thinking of is Jen DeLuca. So I really have enjoyed her books. I think that they're really well executed and enjoyable. And I think if you're not a power romance reader, they probably give you the, oh, damn it. I accidentally tapped it. Accidentally hit my nail with the magnet. But it still did it. It still gives them what they're looking for from a romance, some of those lighter, like more easy breezy vibes. But it's not like as overtly sexual. It has a lot more of the sort of like a woman finding herself as kind of the plot line as opposed to the romance itself driving the plot. And I'm okay with that. Like, I enjoy those sometimes, especially, I guess, like, here's the distinction probably I need to make. When they are marketed as chick lit and women's fiction, and that is, like, overtly what they're going for, I don't tend to enjoy those. But when it's a romance that is, like, secretly got those elements in it, I can get down with that sometimes, because there's enough of a romance there that it still kind of, like, pulls me along, even if tonally it doesn't feel as much like a typical genre romance. But again, I feel and maybe I'm just internalizing something and people are not actually feeling this way. It feels to me like people judge people who like those books as not real romance readers. So I don't know. Also, like, what is a real romance reader? Anyway. So there's like that end of like me having some angst. The other thing is that there are not as many contemporary romances coming out that I am drawn to. I do agree, especially from sort of traditional publishing houses, that I'm pretty bored with a lot of the things they're putting out. Now, again, part of what I love about genre fiction writ large is the predictability to some degree, and the consistency. Ooh, okay, I feel like I cannot get a good angle for you guys to really see how cool this looks in person, but it looks like a cat eye. Oh, it's so cool. And it shifts from being sort of like a tealy blue to that kind of, like, that's the mossy green side of the flip. But then when it's in light that I can't show you because it stops being in the right lighting, it looks more like teal. I'm obsessed. Now that I have the little magnetic wand, I'm gonna have to get more of these. Anyway, I'm not mad about the predictability of genre fiction. I think it's like part of what I go for. Like, what I'm looking for is for an author to make a predictable plot element or character type or world or whatever. I'm looking for them to make it their own and like to put their own distinctive flavor in it, or I want them to just be really, really good at delivering that trope or like that expected genre element. I want them to just be like masters of giving me that element really well. I'm cool with either of those. So like, to me, it's not necessarily a bad thing that there's some like kind of predictable thing. You know, Avon is always going to have a blue stocking historical romance that they're pushing. They're always going to have, I don't know, like a alpha hole who doesn't know how to express his feelings, or a rake or whatever. Like, that's their gig. And I'm not mad at them having a gig or like a thing. That's like what their whole deal is. That's fine. I think I'm just not as into it, or like there's just not as many of them. I guess here's maybe what I'm trying to say. I think I'm finding with most romances that unless there is something truly like unique about it, or it's an author I just really love, for the most part, I just don't find it can sustain my interest for a full novel very often anymore. I want a Kindle Unlimited novella length where, you know, I'm gonna get the trope delivered to me unadulterated, just sort of like quick shot of adrenaline, like, yes, this is a trope I like. It's an abduction trope, or it's a marriage of convenience trope, or it's a whatever. Like, I just want it to be like to the point and like delivering me the straight shot of adrenaline of getting a trope that I like. That tends to be kind of where I'm at these days. And I feel weird about that because I don't give those books very high ratings usually. It's not that I think that they're phenomenal books that, you know, are great examples of what they are, but they just get to the point. Whereas I guess maybe that's what it is. I feel like a lot of the romance full-length novels, unless it's an author who is really skilled and is really good at creating a full story and having interesting like dynamics, or has like a distinctive writing style that I like, often I just don't have the patience for it anymore. Like, I just think that it feels really stale, most novels that are romance, particularly contemporary and historical romances. So it's like I'm really weeding down to the things that it's just like, I know I like this and this is what I'm going to read. Like Lindsay Sands, I'm not arguing she's doing anything new and exciting. I just like what she does. Like, I like the way she does her books, and so I like those books. Allie Hazelwood, I like her writing style. It's very fan fiction-y, which is something that's very nostalgic for me. I read a ton of fan fiction when I was in middle school. So like, I just like that. I like the sort of crackalicious fan service oriented writing style she has, or sort of way she builds her plots. It just works for me. So I'm cool to read a full book of that because I like the style. But I don't know, I'm just finding that I just can't be that enticed. Or not as enticed as I used to be. I don't know if any of that made sense. This is why I'm saying I'm having like an existential crisis about it, because I can't tell if it's me. I can't tell if it's the books that are getting published. I can't tell if... I just don't know. I heard from several people in the video where I mentioned this agreeing that particularly for contemporary romance, they felt similarly. And maybe it's just that I don't think of myself as an independent romance kind of girl. Like, that's not how and I'm not trying to like shade anybody. I know that there are people who like very overtly are like, traditional publishing is trash for romance. I hate it. Independent publishing is where it's at. And like, it's a specific kind of vibe that I don't feel like I have. Like, I'm willing to read a romance from anyone, but I guess like I find myself more drawn to the independently published stuff right now, but I don't feel like I have the same kind of contempt for traditional publishing. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel sort of like I'm identityless right now in the morass of trying to figure out like what romances I'm gonna read. So anyway, that was my ramble about that. Then I guess transitioning to Twitter real quick, and sorry, it's before work, but people are already blowing my phone up here. Okay, transitioning to Twitter. So, okay, yeah, I think these turned out pretty well. I love this beautiful green that you guys are seeing. I like the teal too, but oh gosh. Okay, Twitter. So if you don't know, which you don't know is a lot. So Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. He tried to like weasel his way out of it, but he'd already signed the agreement, so he had to buy it even though he didn't want it anymore. Since that has happened, it's just been an absolute nightmare. He wanted to like democratize the blue check. The whole point of the blue check is that you have verified that somebody is who they are, not that they're like elite. So he's like, you can buy the blue check mark. I think it was first for like $20 a month. And then he was like, oh no, wait, it's $8 a month. Of course, people have been using that to like troll. It's a whole thing. I don't even know where they are with that side of things, if they rolled it back or if they're still letting people do it. That's been an absolute nightmare. And then he like did this big firing spree at the company, which like was violating the terms of the contract under which he bought Twitter, and also like state laws of California about how much notice you have to give during like a mass firing event. So like that's been a mess. And then like he had to try to hire people back because he fired too many people and they couldn't keep the website going. Also, for my fellow like people in IT, the fact that they had a dev build in the prod environment, that sent me. I was like, you paid $44 billion for a company and you have the dev building protection environment. Oh my God. I like that just makes my entire butthole just like, I just can't imagine what would happen if I was in charge of a project where that happened. But anyway, so it's just been an absolute mess, but it's been making me think, like, what do you guys think the future of Twitter and bookishness is going to be? Because Twitter is historically where a lot of drama pops off across the internet. So like Reddit and Guru Gossip, the semi behind the scenes place where things get cooking, but when it's ready to bubble to the surface, it always happens on Twitter, it feels like. And so the idea that Twitter is going to become like kind of unusable and like not safe to use, to be totally honest, like the fact that they had that dev build in prod just tells me I do not trust them with my data at all. I have personally gone inactive over there and I changed my password, some random one that I've never used before, so that if they get hacked, like that's the only one that gets contaminated. I don't know if it's going to be usable. So like what's going to happen? Like, first of all, that's a huge blow to authors, because I know that there's always controversy about this, but there's certainly authors who I have found out about through Twitter or came to be interested in their books because of Twitter. That is one side of the coin. So like, I can't imagine what that's going to do for authors from a marketing perspective. Also, what is that going to do in terms of holding authors accountable for things? What is it going to do in terms of reducing the number of authors who get into bad behavior? Is that gonna just move to TikTok? And then I think about the communal aspect of it. I felt very connected to the romance community through Twitter. Romancelandia Twitter has always been a big thing. Keeping up on drama, keeping up on new releases or sort of like discourse. That is a whole area. And then, I don't know, there's just something about Twitter that does create so much mess. If Twitter kind of tanks itself and fewer people are willing to be on there, does that mean we'll have less drama for book things? Does it mean that the drama will move to TikTok? Because that's the only place where I can kind of, I mean, there already has been TikTok drama, but that's the only social media platform where I think it even vaguely lends itself to sort of the dogpiling that Twitter has. That's because of stitching and because of duetting and because of now they have like reposting. I do think that you can kind of get some of those same dynamics going. So will TikTok become the new place where all the drama pops off? People get into mess over there? I don't know. I can see, I can also see TikTok being a place to like hold people accountable. And also because the algorithm just lets everything be seen. Oh yeah, I should say part of what I've heard the plan with the paying $8 to be verified is going to be, is that if you are not verified, or like if you don't have the blue check mark, then your tweets are really not going to get published, well circulated. Like it diminishes your chance of having your tweet being seen unless you pay to play. So I just don't think there's that many people who will do that, especially considering it's more expensive than some of the Hulu plans you can get for subscription streaming. So yeah, I just don't see a world where that is really a thing. I don't know. We'll see. I just think Twitter has been a big part of the online bookish community since I have been a part of it. And the idea of it really being reduced in terms of its ability to be influential or the number of people who are willing to stay on the platform, I just think all of that is really interesting. So I've been kind of musing on, I mean, what is Jess gonna do? Where's she gonna, she's gonna have to just be like trolling Reddit and TikTok, I guess, from now on, because I don't think there'll be nearly as much mess on Twitter. So yeah, anyway, that was just something else that I was randomly thinking about. I guess in general, it just feels like we're kind of at a big change. I don't know. Maybe this is just because in general, society feels like it's at such a big changing moment over the last few years, but for whatever reason, it feels like things are a brewing in the book community. I mean, like there's the whole Penguin Random House acquisition merger thing. There's the strikes that are happening for HarperCollins. Collins, with their editing teams. I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of change brewing. And I don't know, I don't know that that's good or bad. That's how it kind of feels. So anyway, if you do not like rambly videos, I really hope you did not stick around because that's what this was. And for those of you who like my live streams, sorry I couldn't do the scheduling to make that happen because I think this probably would have been a pretty good live stream topic, but I already have a live stream this week and then there's like Thanksgiving and whatever. It just wasn't gonna work with timing. And I don't know if there was like enough there for us to have a full conversation. So anyway, but I do want there to be at least some conversation. So definitely leave your thoughts in the comments below. Hopefully we can have some good conversations there. Do you think things are changing? Are you like me and have like ambivalence about like how genres that you read maybe are shifting? Are there ones happening beyond romance? I do think that mystery thriller is shifting genre tropes in a way that I personally really like. And people pointed out that it was probably because of the success of Knives Out and because we were all locked down in the pandemic, that sort of like isolation tropes are coming back up. But maybe you don't like that change. Do you think that there's other changes happening in other genres that you read that you do or don't like? Let me know that. Let me know what you think about the Twitter situation. And yeah, anyway, this is a random video. Hope you guys liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below. And I think that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon.